We are often taught that kindness is the ultimate virtue, that helping others is an unquestionable moral duty. But there is a truth that few dare to speak, a truth that may be shocking. It is that kindness, if misplaced, is not only meaningless, but can also bring horrifying consequences. Kindness without wisdom is destruction. We are talking about the law of cause and effect, an absolute balancing system of the universe, where every action leads to a corresponding consequence. Some call this karma, a concept often misunderstood. But if we strip away the spiritual layer, it is simply action and reaction. Each of us, by our own choices, creates our own path. When we see someone struggling and suffering, crushed by failure or betrayal, our first instinct is to want to save them. But imagine cause and effect as a raging river. That river is created from the person's own past choices. And now, that river is sweeping them away. They are paying the price. They are learning their lesson. This is a necessary process. When you stand on the bank and see that scene, your compassion arises. You jump in. You try to pull them in. The question is, why did you jump in? On the surface, it's out of kindness. But deeper, it might be the savior complex, a psychological state where your self-worth is tied to fixing others. You need them to be weak so you can feel strong, feel valuable. You jump in. You have interfered with a natural process. You have paused their lesson. The river of karma does not disappear. And because you have interfered, the energy of that flow is now linked to you. The person you just saved, they haven't finished their lesson. They don't understand why they were in the middle of that river. So very quickly, they will repeat the same old mistakes, and the river will sweep them away again. As for you, you have taken on a part of their karma, and you are exhausted. You cannot save someone who does not want to save themselves. We often confuse empathetic compassion with emotional contagion. We think that feeling miserable with others and jumping in to suffer with them is noble. But that is weakness. Imagine you are a surgeon. The patient is on the operating table. If you look at the wound and become emotionally contaminated, you panic, tremble, cry hysterically. You cannot save them. The scalpel will fall from your hand. Conversely, empathetic compassion is when you understand their pain, but you maintain your professional composure. You keep a warm heart, but a cool head. You must be precise and do what needs to be done. That is real help. When we see a friend constantly failing in business because of a gambling habit, the first time they beg you for help, you lend them money. You think you are saving them. But what have you done? You just gave more fuel to their habit. You didn't save them. You are enabling the disease. The second time, they go broke again. They come to you again. You pity them again. You lend them money again. You are turning yourself into part of the problem. You are not helping them solve the root cause. You are just helping them delay the consequences. That consequence, that river of karma, must come sooner or later. And when it comes with accumulated force, it will engulf both them and you. Before you decide to help someone, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Does my help truly solve the root of the problem, or does it just soothe the symptoms? 2. Am I taking away the other person's opportunity to learn their own lesson? And 3, the most important question, is this action to help them get better, or just to help me feel like I am a good person? If the answer is yes to the second question, or to help myself to the third, be careful. Your kindness may be on the wrong path. Psychological scientists call this pathological altruism. This is an academic definition. It refers to efforts to promote the welfare of others that instead result in harm that an outside observer could reasonably foresee. Simply put, your kindness becomes toxic when it causes predictable negative consequences. Your kindness is abetting destruction. It becomes indulgence. We live in a universe governed by laws. Like the law of gravity. You cannot jump from the 10th floor and hope your kindness will save you from injury. The law of cause and effect is the same. It is precise, and it plays no favorites. When you interfere with the karmic flow of others, you are trying to fight a fundamental law. The consequences are unavoidable. You will be pulled into a mess that is not yours. You will lose energy, lose time, lose money, and eventually, you may lose yourself. So the question is, should we be callous? Should we ignore the world? No, absolutely not. Kindness is necessary, but it needs wisdom. Pain is a great teacher. When we take away someone's pain with hasty kindness, we also take away their opportunity for growth. We think we are saving them, but we are actually making them weaker, more dependent. We are taking away their inner strength. We are telling them, you don't need to take responsibility. Someone else will always clean up after you. This is an incredibly toxic message. The only thing you can do is to become strong and wise yourself. And from that stable position, you can inspire others. You can be a lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't run around the island trying to save every ship. It stands firm in one place. It emits its characteristic signal. A rotating beam, a unique flashing rhythm. Any ship that wants to avoid the reefs, any ship that wants to know its position, must look for itself. It must read that signal for itself. And it must navigate for itself. Why do we rush to save others even when reason screams that they do not want to be saved? We call it kindness. But if we are honest, it is arrogance. It is the savior complex, a dangerous psychological state where our self-worth is tied to fixing other people. We aren't truly helping them for them. We are helping them for us. We need them to be weak so we can feel strong. We need them to be chaotic so we can feel orderly. Our intervention is not an altruistic act. It is an act of control. We try to control them, control their circumstances, because their suffering makes us uncomfortable. We want to extinguish it quickly, not so they can be healed, but so we can be at peace. This is the first cost, the cost of self-deception. At first, it feels good. You get a dopamine hit from the rescue. What psychologists call the helper's high. You feel useful, noble, morally superior. But that feeling doesn't last. When you repeatedly clean up the mess for an addict, or pay off the debts for a gambler, you are not saving them. You are enabling the disease. You are robbing them of their bottom, the ultimate pain they need to hit to find the real motivation to change. Your kindness becomes a crutch, and they will never learn to walk on their own as long as you keep handing it to them. This is the second cost, the price they pay. You have sabotaged their growth. But the third cost, the price you pay, is truly devastating. It is described perfectly in a psychological model called the Karpman Drama Triangle. This model states that in toxic relationships, people tend to play three roles: the victim, the persecutor, and the rescuer. Your blind kindness casts you in the role of the rescuer. You see a victim, and you rush in. You feel superior to them. But this is a trap. The person playing the victim doesn't actually want a solution. They want an audience for their complaints. They want someone to clean up the consequences. They want attention. When you provide solutions that they don't follow, when you save them time and time again, but they don't change, your exhaustion builds. Your kindness turns into resentment. And now you switch roles. You transform from the rescuer into the persecutor. You start yelling at them. Why won't you change? I've done everything for you. You're so ungrateful. You are now attacking the very person you just tried to save. Then, when they react, or when you realize how much time and energy you've wasted for nothing, you switch roles one more time. You become the victim. Nobody understands me. I was just trying to be a good person. I'm so tired. The tragic circle is complete. You started by trying to save a victim, and you ended by becoming one yourself. This is the immeasurable psychological cost. You have been pulled into their chaos. They are emotional vampires. They live by draining the energy and attention of others. And your blind kindness was the invitation for them to come and feed. This isn't just psychological. It is the cost of energy. When you voluntarily shoulder someone else's responsibilities, you are taking on the weight of their life. You are paying the price for a problem that is not yours. You are trying to balance an equation that doesn't belong to you. The consequence is that your own life begins to go off track. Your health declines. You lose sleep worrying about someone else's problems. Your finances suffer. Your other relationships begin to crack. Because all of your focus and energy have been poured into a bottomless pit. You prevented the natural consequences from happening to them. Therefore, the universe, in an attempt to re-establish balance, will let those consequences find another path. And that path is you. You become the one who bears the consequences instead. You thought you were helping. But you were actually turning yourself into a scapegoat. The final cost of blind intervention is that you lose yourself. You lose your peace. You lose your boundaries. You lose who you are. You transform from a rescuer into an exhausted, resentful victim. You become part of the problem, instead of part of the solution. We have talked about the cost of intervention. We have seen how it destroys both the rescuer and the rescued. But most of us don't think we are intervening. We think we are helping. And this is the most dangerous line. The deadly confusion between helping and enabling. Helping is empowering someone. Enabling is fueling their weakness. Helping is a temporary act to address an unexpected obstacle. Enabling is a chronic behavior. It removes the consequences. This is the crucial point. Consequences are the teacher. Pain, failure, shame, these are feedback signals from reality. They tell us, this path is wrong. Change. When you enable someone, you are turning off that alarm system. You are covering their ears so they cannot hear the warning bell. The father who pays his son's gambling debts. He thinks he is helping, but he is enabling. He just told his son, you don't need to take responsibility. Someone will always clean up after you. He has taken away the consequence. The lesson is not learned. And his son will continue. The mother who does her child's homework. She thinks she is helping, but she is enabling. She is telling the child, you are not capable. She is taking away the lesson of effort and perseverance. That child will grow up, and when facing a problem, they will look for someone else to do it for them. We enable, not because we are good. We enable because we are weak. We don't dare to say no. We fear conflict. We are afraid of being called selfish or cruel. Our kindness is actually cowardice. It is a symptom of pathological conflict avoidance. You agree, not because you are in agreement. You agree because you fear disagreement. But there is another, darker reason. We enable because it gives us a sense of control. It feeds our savior complex. This is a hard truth to swallow. We don't save them so they can be free. We save them to bind them. As long as they remain weak, as long as they keep failing, as long as they need us to clean up, then we feel valuable. We feel like we are good people. We feel morally superior. This superiority is addictive. We, unconsciously, want them to continue to fail, so we can continue to play the role of the rescuer. Our help is actually a sophisticated form of selfishness. We become codependent. We don't really want them to get stronger, because if they get stronger, they won't need us anymore. They will leave, and then our hero role will disappear. Our ego will collapse. Therefore, unconsciously, we keep them in a crippled state. Our kindness is the cage. What is the consequence of enabling? Resentment. The person who enables, the one who says, I do everything for them, will be the most depleted. You clean up the first time, you feel noble. The second time, you feel tired. The third time, you feel resentment, Why don't they change? Why are they so ungrateful? You forget that you trained them to become this way. You taught them that they don't need to take responsibility. Your resentment is absurd. And what about the one being enabled? You think they are grateful? No. Deep down, they despise you. They know you don't dare to say no. They know you are weak. And they know they can manipulate you with guilt. Furthermore, they resent you. Because your enabling is holding them back. Your help is the cage holding them down. They cannot grow because you are always standing there, ready to catch them, right before they have a chance to learn to stand on their own. This relationship becomes a prison. Both are trapped. Both resent each other, but no one dares to leave. Because the enabler is addicted to the feeling of being needed, and the enabled is addicted to the feeling of being taken care of. Breaking this pattern, learning to say no, is not an act of cruelty. It is the ultimate act of kindness. When you say no, you are not saying I hate you. You are saying, I trust in your ability to solve your own problems. You are saying, I respect you enough to believe you can learn your own lesson. You are saying, I will no longer enable your self-destruction. And most importantly, you are saying, I respect myself. My energy is valuable. My peace is not up for trade. We are afraid that if we stop enabling, they will collapse. Maybe. They might collapse. They might hit bottom. But that bottom is the only place where real change can begin. You cannot do it for them. Any attempt to save them from their own bottom is just delaying the inevitable. And it is sabotage. So what do we do? How do we help without enabling? How do we care without interfering? How do we love without losing ourselves? The answer lies in one concept, a concept that most good people lack. It is boundaries. Boundaries. A simple word, but the most foreign concept to good people. Boundaries are not walls you build to keep others out. Boundaries are a fence you draw to protect yourself. It is a clear message sent to the world. This is me. This is where I end and where you begin. This is what I accept. And this is what I absolutely do not accept. For a person accustomed to enabling, setting boundaries feels cruel. It feels selfish. It triggers every sense of guilt inside them. Because they have been programmed to believe, their value lies in sacrifice. Their value lies in saying yes, even when they are screaming no inside. But the truth is, without boundaries, your kindness is meaningless. Without boundaries, you are not a good person. You are just a pushover, a fearful person. Kindness without boundaries is self-destruction. So, what does setting a boundary look like? It is not screaming. It is often just a calm, firm statement. When the gambling friend comes asking to borrow money again. A boundary is not judging. You are so irresponsible. A boundary is a clear statement. I care about you, but I will not lend you money anymore. No explanations. No excuses. When a loved one demands you sacrifice your life for them. A boundary is, I understand your wish, Mom, but I will not do that. The difficulty is not in saying the sentence. The difficulty is in enduring the other person's reaction. They will get angry. They will call you selfish. They will manipulate you with guilt. I thought you were my friend. I sacrificed everything for you. This is the test. They are testing whether your boundary is real or just an empty threat. If you back down, you have just taught them. If they apply enough pressure, you will collapse. If you hold firm, you calmly repeat, I understand you are disappointed, but my answer is still no. You are training them. You are teaching them how to treat you. This is a painful process. It requires the courage to choose self-respect over the temporary acceptance of others. But this is the first step, establishing physical and verbal boundaries. But there is a higher level, a level many people never reach. It is detached compassion. This is not a distant philosophy. It is a survival tool forged in desperation. This concept was born from 12-step support groups like Al-Anon, where the wives, husbands, and children of severe alcoholics had to face a truth that they could not control another's addiction, that all their rescue efforts only made things worse. They tried everything: begging, screaming, cleaning up, paying debts, covering up, and all of it failed. Detached compassion, for them, was the only remaining option. It is the painful acknowledgement that, I love you, but I cannot die with you. I love you, but I will not let your chaos destroy me. It is the ability to say, I care about you, but not for you. This is the difference between the surgeon and the emotionally contaminated person. The surgeon understands the pain, but does not let the pain infect them. In life, when you see a loved one struggling in their river of karma, blind kindness jumps in and both drown. Detached compassion is when you stand on the bank. You send them love, but you accept that. This is their fight. This is their lesson. You must respect their right to fail. We want to control. We think we know what is best for others. But we don't. Our savior complex believes that without us, they cannot survive. That is arrogance. Detached compassion is humility. It is the acknowledgement that you cannot live anyone else's life. You can only live your own. When you master this, you become free. You are no longer drained by emotional vampires. You no longer feel resentful, depleted. You help, but your help has changed. You no longer give money. You give knowledge. You no longer clean up consequences. You ask the hard questions. What do you plan to do about this? You are no longer the crutch. You become the lighthouse. You stand firm. You shine. You don't run to save anyone. You simply exist as a testament to what a life with boundaries and self-respect looks like. And whoever needs your light will find their own way to it. True kindness is not about pleasing everyone. That is exhaustion. True kindness is living in your own truth and allowing others to do the same. It requires the courage to be disliked. It requires the strength to set boundaries. And it requires the wisdom to know that sometimes the best way to help is to do nothing at all. Just stand still and trust in another's ability to heal themselves.